This is Martin for Good Morals, and here is today's message of truth and hope. Now we're going to discuss the great conflict between Christ and Satan. How did Christ defeat Satan? What was the strategy? And what did it cost? And why was it necessary? Well, I hate to tell you this, but Jesus said Satan is the god of this world. That means as the god of this world, the people worship him, they imitate him, they follow him, and they are in his power, because gods control lesser creatures, whom we are. Was that what God intended? That Satan should be the god of this world, which God created? No. He created the world perfect. He put Adam and Eve in the garden, and he said, "It is good." It was created perfect. But sin entered through the deception of the adversary, who tempted Eve to believe that he had something better to offer her than God did. And then Adam went along, and they both suddenly saw that they were naked, and they broke their fellowship with God, and they choose to obey the voice of the enemy of God rather than the voice of God himself. And the one that you obey is the one that has the rulership over you. So if you obey the devil, you hearken to his voice, and you follow him, then he becomes your God and your ruler. If on the other hand, you deny the devil, and you hear the word of Christ, and you follow him and his word, and you conform your life accordingly, then he becomes your God. But you're still in a world that the devil rules over, a fallen world. But you have been redeemed out of it. And so you become a contradiction to the world. And that is what Christ was when he was on this earth. He was in the devil's kingdom. But he was not a subject of the devil. He was a subject of his Father in heaven in an enemy land. And as such, he was persecuted by the enemy that ruled in that land, and eventually was killed by him. And in the eyes of the adversary and the demon hordes, the devil had defeated the threat to his rulership that Christ represented, because the devil could not get Christ to sin, and as such, he could have no authority over him. But he was able to kill his body through the hatred of men that he inhabited. And that should have been the end of the matter, but the devil did not carry through the logic sufficiently, which is that he cannot have power even in death over someone who never sinned, since the wages of sin is death. And without sin in a man, the devil has no authority to hold him by the power of death. So Christ rose from the grave, and Christ has authority over all men who confess him before other men and repudiate the devil. He has legal authority to translate them from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of light. So in this world, every man will obey one or the other. No man can serve two masters. He will obey Christ, or he will obey Satan. He will be in the kingdom of light or the kingdom of darkness. And the devil seeks after your soul, as he did with Adam and Eve, through deception, to get you to obey a lie rather than the Word of God. But if you are grounded in the Word of God, you will be able to perceive the wiles of the devil and not conform yourself to this world, but to him who died to save you out of the world.